Hey YouTube, I'm doing a video today called The Truth About the Health Care Bill. This is via an email that was sent to me today, and it pertained to an article written by the author Michael Connelly, and he wrote the piece on August 12th. The links are going to be in the sidebar. If you only read 9 paragraphs about the proposed Health Care Reform Act, H.R. 3200, please let it be the article below by Michael Connelly. The article is also available at the link attached, blah, blah, blah. Professor Connelly is a retired attorney, former officer in the U.S. Army, published author, and constitutional law instructor. August 12, 2009. Well, I've done it. I've read the entire text of the House Bill 3200, the Affordable Health Care Choices Act of 2009. I studied it with particular emphasis from my area of expertise, constitutional law. I was frankly concerned that parts of the proposed law that were being discussed might be unconstitutional. What I found was far worse than what I had heard or expected. To begin with, much of what has been said about the law and its implications is in fact true, despite what Democrats and the media are saying. The law does provide for rationing of health care, particularly where seniors and other classes of citizens are involved. Free health care for illegal immigrants, free abortion services, and probably forced participation in abortions by members of the medical profession. The bill will eventually force private insurance companies out of business and put everyone into the government-run system. All decisions about personal health care will ultimately be made by federal bureaucrats, and most of them will not be health care professionals. Hospital admissions, payments to physicians, and allocations of necessary medical devices will be strictly controlled. However, as scary as all of that is, it just scratches the surface. In fact, I have concluded that this legislation has no intention of providing affordable health care choices. Instead, it's a convenient cover for the most massive transfer of power to the executive branch of government that has ever occurred or even been contemplated. If this law or similar one is adopted, major portions of the U.S. Constitution will effectively have been destroyed. The first thing to go will be the masterfully crafted balance of power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the U.S. government. The Congress will be transferring to the Obama administration authority in a number of different areas over all the lives of American people and the businesses they own. The irony is that the Congress does not have the authority to legislate in most of these areas to begin with. I defy anyone to read the text of the U.S. Constitution and find any authority granted to the members of Congress to regulate health care. The legislation also provides for access by the appointees of the Obama administration of all your personal health care information, your personal financial information, and the information of your employer, physician, and hospital. All of this is in direct violation of the specific provisions of the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution, protecting against unreasonable seizures and searches. You can forget about the right to privacy. That will have been legislated into oblivion, regardless of what the Third and Fourth Amendments may provide. If you decide not to have health care insurance, or if you have private insurance that is not deemed acceptable to the Health Choices Administrator appointed by Obama, there will be a tax imposed on you. It is called a tax instead of a fine because of the intent to avoid the application of due process clause of the Fifth Amendment. However, that doesn't work because since there is nothing in the law that allows you to contest or appeal the imposition of the tax, it's definitely depriving someone of property without due process of law. So there are three of the pesky amendments that the far left hate so much about the original 10 in the Bill of Rights that are effectively nullified by this law. It doesn't stop there, though. The Ninth Amendment that provides the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny nor disparage others retained by the people. The 10th Amendment states the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are preserved to the states respectively or to the people. Under the provisions of this piece of congressional handiwork, neither the people nor the states are going to have any rights, powers at all in many areas that once were theirs to control. I could write many more pages about this legislation, but I think you get the idea. This is not about health care. It's about seizing power and limiting rights. Article 6 of the Constitution requires that members of both houses of Congress to be bound by an oath or affirmation to support the Constitution. If I was a member of Congress, I would not be able to vote for this legislation or anything like it without feeling I was violating the sacred oath or affirmation. If I voted for it anyway, I would hope the American people would hold me accountable. For those who might doubt the nature of this threat, I suggest they consult the source. Here's a link to the Constitution. Michael Connelly, retired attorney, constitutional law instructor, Carrollton, Texas, blah, blah, blah. If you're interested, would like to read 7 paragraphs more on the second article by Connelly, In conclusion, the following is a direct quote from Professor Connelly. I find it interesting that a week after I wrote my first blog questioning constitutionality of House Bill 3200, Judge Napolitano on Fox News interviewed 2 constitutional experts who also saw this as an unconstitutional action by Congress. They pointed out that normally when this type of legislation is introduced in Congress, the members of the House of Representatives or the Senate cite the provisions of the U.S. Constitution that authorize such legislation. This has not been the case in any of the health care bills proposed. This is not a simple oversight on the part of Congress. They know, and they don't have the constitutional authority to do this. They simply don't care. They intend to do it anyway, and I find this to be supremely arrogant and absolutely terrifying. If they succeed in this, then no provisions of the Constitution are safe from attack. In fact, in future articles I will point out where other provisions of the Constitution that I consider sacred are being totally disregarded and under a full-scale assault by Congress and the Obama administration. I repeat what I said in my previous article. This is not about health care. It's about control, blah, blah, blah. Read it for yourselves. I've got the links establishing who wrote it and where he posted it. Please oppose this health care bill.